Hello. Um, every day the Oculus store has a deal, and their deal today was or is, but if you want to take advantage of it, you better get in fast because it changes at midnight, and it's very close to midnight where I am right now. Anyway, the deal of the day today is a program called Wander, and what Wander is, it's an app, and it's an app that utilizes Google Street View, but in VR. Now, when I say that it's in VR, what I basically mean by that is it patches all of the photographs together to give you a complete 360 degree view using, the photos from the little ball thing that sticks on the top of the Google vans that travel the world. But I've kind of had my eye on this app for a while and fancied getting it, but it was just a couple of dollars today and I really couldn't resist it. And I've been sitting here playing with it for the last couple of hours and I love it. It's just amazing. I won't lie, I've been a little bit tearful in these silly goggles today because made me feel a little bit homesick at times. The fact that, I've been able to revisit lots of places that I've lived all over the world, lots of places that I've visited. So what I thought I would do is give a little tour of my hometown, Kidlington, in Oxfordshire, in England. This is not Kidlington in Oxfordshire, in England. If any of my Hungarian friends are watching, I know quite a few of my Hungarian friends went to Debrecen University, so they've probably already figured out where where this is. This is Nagyadai, the big forest. Is it big forest or big woods? Probably big woods, right? Nagyadai, in Debrecen, in Hungary. The reason that I came here to have a look here was, I've got to find my controller now, here we go. I wanted to see if the bodega was still here, and it is, and that makes me weirdly happy. I don't know why. You can see Debrecen Egyetem in the background, very, very beautiful university. But this is the tram stop for the university, which is why there's lots of bright young students hanging around outside here waiting for the tram, and this guy looks a bit older and looks a bit pervy, but we won't worry about him. Probably an American tourist. But this is where you would get off the tram to go to the university, and there was like this bodega place for food just here, and honestly, the food in the little store in the university was really bad. The food here was really bad, but not quite as bad as the food in there. Hence, it was always very popular. And it looks like it still exists. I think around the other side is where you go and buy your food. Just makes me weirdly happy that the bodega still exists. In fact, over here we have the big forest. I used to rollerblade through here. And then this is the tram tracks that go, they go all the way down to the railway station, the other end of Debrecen, and I lived kind of in the middle, in a street called Chapolutca. In fact, I think in the favourites here, I have the place where I used to live. Yeah, it was in one of these communist era tower blocks. They look depressing on the outside. You should be on the inside. My apartment was, I think, this one here, just here, and cockroaches the size of dogs. That's all I'll say. Hold on. Over here, this used to be, I think this used to be a flower store. Looks like it sells vegetables and and shit now, but I'm pretty sure when I lived here in 2002, this was a flower shop. Don't remember this restaurant, bar looking place being there. Up here was the co-op where I would buy my bread and my Turo Rudy. If you don't know what Turo Rudy is, you're missing out. Yep, here's the co-op. Doesn't say Coop, it says co-op. It's a little supermarket there where I would get my groceries, and then round the back, which I don't think you can go to because it's not accessible by car, was little hairdressers where I used to get my hair cut. I used to go in there with a note because my Hungarian was so poor. I had to get a friend to write a note to explain what I wanted done to my hair because they didn't speak English in there. Yeah. And then this goes towards the centre of Debrecen, up here, the centrum where the Naj Templon, the big church is. Istvan and Marchi lived in there somewhere, I think. If Zita's watching this, or Eri, or somebody, you can probably correct me, but I'm pretty sure Istvan and Marchi lived there. This hasn't changed at all, really, this area. But eventually it becomes pedestrianised, so I don't think we'll be able to go down there. Yeah, up here. This is where it's pedestrians only. And I used to walk from down the other end of there up to my apartment after getting off the tram, because it's nice. It was a nice walk. This, I think, is new. The Forum. I'm pretty sure this wasn't here when I lived there. What is it? Oh, I guess it's a shopping mall because it's got a C&A there. I don't know these other ones. Probably German. But anyway, you're not here for views of Debrecen. You're here for views of Kidlington, where I grew up. So let's start with the house that I lived in from the age of 3 weeks old up until sometime in my 20s. Very unassuming house, 18 Waverley Avenue, Kidlington, Oxford. A council house, which is, if you're American, this is the projects. In fact, this is the projects. These are all where the posh people lived over here. Look, we're right next door. There's just a little road there which led to some garages. And in fact, the house there with the red van, that's 18A Waverley Avenue, and I lived at 18 Waverley Avenue. No, I don't know why there's no blue plaque there or anything to show that, you know, I lived there, but I'm sure they'll get around to it at some point. Anyway, so yeah, this is Waverley Avenue. The Manuel family lived there. Jean and Jerry Walker lived there. The Hardings lived there. The O'Sullivans lived next door. The Browns originally lived there. And then I remember on New Year's Eve one year, Jim Brown took an axe to his wife Shirley Brown's car and smashed it up because she was screwing somebody or something. We won't talk about the people who lived there, actually. I can't say anything about them for legal reasons. Okay, so we have Queen's Avenue this way. We have Cherwell Avenue this way. Let's go Cherwell Avenue, because I know there are actually some people on my Facebook feed who probably aren't watching this, but they may be, who grew up along here. Graham Temple, the Temple family lived there. Hi. Hi. can't remember. I know the Walkers lived along here somewhere. That actually may be a real life walker just there. Who knows? I didn't know many people who lived up here. Somebody I went to school with called Sharon lived in one of these, but I think if you lived in Sherwell Avenue or Queens Avenue and you were female, you basically had to be called Sharon. It was the law. I think just here, Simon Coomber lived there. And then there's an alleyway there that goes to Mill Street, but we'll get to Mill Street the long way. Okay, so just going to load in. Sharon Carpenter lived there, different Sharon than the one who lived down there. Sharon Carpenter lived down there, lived in that house. And Russell Hagar lived in one of these houses, I think. Didn't you, Russell? And then this is Evans Lane. And these shops down here were called the bottom shops because they were at the bottom of Evans Lane. And that's my bus stop where I used to get the bus in the morning when I lived in Kidlington. Don't know who he is. Oh, we should go down Mill End. These are where all the posh houses are. In fact, you can see they're quite posh houses. Emily Blow lived down there. That was really her name. The reason I want to come up here is because this is Mill End. You can see they're all kind of quite nice. Okay, so we no doubt can't go any further than this. This is the mill house here through those gates. That's where Richard Branson lives. Actually, I think still lives. I mean, he has his own private island where he kind of parties with Obama and stuff. But his main house, Richard Branson of the Virgin Empire, lives in there. So, and he used to see him like riding his bike. He'd ride a bike down to the bottom shops to get his milk, to show that he was just like a normal person like the rest of us, apart from being like a billionaire. Okay. Maybe it'll help if I face forward. Wish I could get rid of the icons. You probably can. Okay, that's better now. Now we're out of there, we can kind of go properly. So, yeah, the bottom shops, all different now. This here it's still a hairdresser's. It was a hairdresser's when I was a kid. Can't remember the name of the guy who ran it. Now it looks to me like it's Biggles Hair. Is it? Because Biggles is they used to have another hairdressers in Kidlington. So yeah, I'm glad that it's still a hairdresser's. This here was Mr. I want to say it was Mr. Farthing's grocery store, and now it looks like it's some little hipster cafe. And then just here was Mr. somebody else's grocery store, and they both sold all the same stuff, and they were bitter rivals, which, you know, it's kind of amazing because for years they both existed, and it's like you're right next door to each other and you hate each other, and some people in Kidlington were loyal to one and some were loyal to the other. We were loyal to this guy, and I can't remember his name. Pretty sure this is Mr. Farthing. This blue door here, the people who lived up here, we were friends with. I don't remember the name of the family, but the kids were called Neil and Tracy, and they owned Mill Street Pets, which is now apparently Mill Street Chiropractic, which is very disappointing. And then the television video hi-fi repairs, that was Ray the Butcher's. I told you I'm going to be thorough, and I should point out that this village, Kidlington, is the biggest village in Europe, so you're going to be here for some time. Back there in those sheds was where Mill Street Pets kept all of their maggots and stuff. Arkham Tattoo. Are you fucking with me? Is that really called Arkham Tattoo? Well, that used to be the post office. Oh my God, they've got like a Batman symbol above the door. Can you see that? And it's called Arkham Tattoo. Wow, what happened, Kidlington? Seriously. And then this was, I don't know what this was. It was a kind of a shop that sold all kinds of tat. Actually looks like it may still be a shop that sells all kinds of tat. There used to be a red telephone box here, which is gone, but I see there's a telephone box just here. So it's moved slightly, and it's a more modern telephone box, but I wonder if it even still works. Oh, looks like it probably does. This cottage here, which is a very nice cottage, was owned by Dr. Saunders, who was my doctor. It was Dr. Saunders' cottage. So this is Mill Street. Quite a nice street. Looks like they're doing a bit of work here. I don't even Sumner House. Honestly, this was clearly there when I was a kid, but I don't even remember it. It looks old, but this is Brasenose Drive. This is where summer of 83, I think it was, my grandmother collapsed up here, further up the street. She was riding her bike, she collapsed and she died of a brain hemorrhage. So there's that. This house over here, this is sorry, my headset apparently is overheating. So, but do you know what? I'm going to let it overheat and see what happens. I just got a message saying, your headset is overheating. This house over here, I can't think what it's called. Hampton Cottage? Hampton House? Hampton something. I may be completely wrong on that. But I went in there a few times because we had some friends live down there called the Treadwells, who were friends with the people who owned this. Terribly posh. The Treadwells were incredibly posh. Not as posh as the people who owned this place. But Oliver Cromwell stayed here. And I remember they've got this big, like, medieval table in the main dining room. And they have when did you last see your father, the famous painting, a reproduction of it on the wall. And I seem to recall being told that When Did You Last See Your Father was painted there, but I cannot confirm or deny that this was actually true. It's a very famous British painting. I'm not sure if it was painted during the Civil War, but it was certainly a painting depicting the Civil War, the Inquisition of a young boy. But yeah, sorry, not Thomas Cromwell, Oliver Cromwell stayed there. Thomas Cromwell was completely different. He was Henry VIII's fixer. Oliver Cromwell stayed there when Oxford was the capital of the United Kingdom. Moving on, this these houses here, this one here, oh, Mill Cottage. I don't think it used to be named. The blue door there. Anybody who's familiar with Beecham's powders, which are, what's the American equivalent of Beecham's powders? Like Andrews, I don't know. But you take them when you when you got, I don't know, what do you take Beecham's powders for? Anyway, if you know what Beecham's powders are good for you. If you don't, look it up. Thomas Beecham, who invented Beecham's powders, he lived there, number 74, Mill Street, back in, 2 million years ago or something. I don't know. We have the Six Bells pub here. Never been in there, even though it was probably the closest pub to me. Never been in the Six Bells. I believe Anna Lord, hi Anna, if you're watching, was a big fan of the Six Bells, but then they serve alcohol, and you can smoke in there. So of course she was. I don't know who that person is sitting in. That actually may be Anna Lord, sitting there looking all forlorn. In fact, I'm sure it is. Hi Anna Lord. What have we got up here? We're heading towards the moors now. If you know what kiss gates are, wait, did I pass them? I'm back at the Six Bells. Let's go just here. Oh my God, they've got rid of the kiss gates. If you know what kiss gates or kissing gates, as they're traditionally called, it's like a weird gate system where it's way too complex to go into. There used to be kiss gates here, but they're not there anymore, which is a real shame because they were something of a Kidlington institution. This is Vicarage Road. Vicarage is a little further up. When I was about 7 or 8 years old, there was a girl down there who lived down there called Jackie Taylor, who I really liked. Probably my very first crush. And there was also a friend of mine who lived down there called Robin Taylor, who was not related to Jackie Taylor. So, and it's not even a big street. Crazy, huh? Bit further up here is the vicarage, where the vicar lived. Of course, I didn't have much use for a vicar, being a heathen even as a child. That's not the vicarage. I think the vicarage is up by that rubbish bin. But it's just the church house. So yeah, vicarage is up there. They used to have some pretty good fates though. I remember once the Wombles performed at a fete at the vicarage just there, but they weren't the real Wombles. They were like people, from some charity or something in really shitty suits. And also I won a 12-inch Battlestar Galactica Cylon action figure in the tombola. So, it wasn't all bad, the vicarage. This is an old people's home. This pavement or sidewalk just here didn't exist. It was a recent addition. They built it specifically when the Queen came to open this old people's home. The Queen, the Queen of England. She came. They didn't have a sidewalk, pavement, so they built one just because she was visiting. I'm not surprised they didn't tear it up, actually, after she was done. Don't remember a bus stop being there. Who's there? Probably some old fucker. Yeah, look, some old man. They're trying to make an escape from the old people's home. Don't know what those are. Some kind of recycling stuff. Maybe he should climb in there. Okay, so now we're coming to a crossroads. So up there, that leads to High Street. This leads to the church, and this is the moors, which is another quite nice area of Kidlington. Let's go up here a little bit, because there are a couple of things up here. King's Arms pub. Have been in that pub. One of the few pubs in Kidlington that I actually have been in. We used to go in there with my friend Tony. Tony Billington. Hi, Tony Billington, because he's on my friends list as well. Just wanted to point out this big white building up here, because I don't know what it is now, but when I was a kid, this was a young offenders place, like a kind of borstal type place for naughty children and naughty teenagers. And I went there once as a visitor, because Shirley Brown and Trevor Brown, the people that Trevor Brown was the one who smashed up Shirley Brown's car on New Year's Eve. I think we were discussing that a while back. My next door neighbours, their son Justin Brown was incarcerated in here, and we went to visit him once. And then it became a orphanage, actually. Later on, when they ran out of bad children, it became a place for children whose parents were bad, I suppose, or didn't exist or whatever. But yeah, it became an orphanage, and I don't know what it is now. Oh, maybe we can find out. We can read the sign. What does it say on that sign? Retirement properties. Wow. So they've turned it into like high-end apartments for old people, but it's for sale. I mean, yeah, interesting. But yeah, that was originally a young offenders place. I think they used to call it like the White House or something. But we won't go up the moors for now, because they're not that interesting, to be honest. The only other interesting thing about the moors is, if you remember Mind Your Language, which was an incredibly offensive sitcom in the late 1970s in the UK, there was a stereotypical French sex kitten on the show, and called Danielle, played by Francois Pascal, and she lived up there. Or at least, like, popular legend was that she lived up the moors. It doesn't sound very likely, but I mean, that's what they told me at school. So this is Church Street. I don't know, possibly, because you can see St Mary's Church up there. So a girl I went to school with called Ursula lived there. Only Ursula I've ever known. She was never allowed to go on school trips because her dad thought that she was going to get blown up by the IRA. That's all I remember about Ursula. Who are these people? So, my very first teacher, Mrs. Phillipson, lived in this house here, and her mother lived in a caravan that was exactly where that caravan there is. It can't possibly be the same caravan, because that would have been, I don't know, decades ago. But maybe it is. Maybe her mother still lives there. If she does, she's got to be like 180 by now. We never saw her mother. Mrs. Phillipson used to take us, used to bring her students to, this is when I was like 5, to her house. And we were always told, don't go near the caravan. My mother lives in the caravan. Which, now I say it out loud, is incredibly creepy, especially as the caravan's still there. Anyway. So up here we have St Mary's Church. This is where my grandparents are buried, actually. Only been in St Mary's Church twice, and that was for their funerals. I don't think I've been in the church more than that. Go down here if we can. Oh, we can, at least a little bit. So my grandparents, their graves are probably visible from here. They're over in the distance behind this tree a bit. But yeah, that's where they're buried. And what I wanted to show up here is the almshouses, the oldest houses in Kidlington. So these are the almshouses, which were houses that were built by the church for the poor, or something like this. You can see it says extension AD 1955. So some of this was added on last century, but they actually, the houses go back to the 17th century, I believe. There we go. Our Lord something, 1671. So yeah, this is 17th century. I think the church is actually older than that, but I'm not sure. Down there is White Bridge, where we used to go skinny dipping, and where the River Cherwell is down there, and you can walk from there to Shipton on Cherwell, where I also used to live. Oh wow, they've put a footpath. That is new. And when I say new, I mean that has been put there since, God, when was I last in Kidlington? Well, I haven't lived in Kidlington for God knows how long, but yeah, and if you walk along here and across these fields, you end up at Mill House, where Richard Branson lives. Branson owns the fields beyond there, but he won't allow them to be built on. It's a nature reserve. I'll give him credit for that. He bought them so that they couldn't be built upon. Well, we can do this. I suppose I could just type in, but that would be cheating, Miles. Let's rush back up here. These people are still there. There we go, that wasn't so bad. Right, let's go up the hill here. Now, this is the high street. Okay, so this is the high street. This is Kidlington Baptist Church. What's amazing about that is it's always been Kidlington Baptist Church. Didn't even know we had any Baptists in Kidlington. Yeah, that hasn't really changed a lot. This kind of glass facade is new, but the basic shape is the same as it's always been. Now, this house up here is interesting. I bet they don't have the same door knocker that they used to have. No, they've changed it. They used to have like a satanic door knocker when I was a kid, and it used to, look at that miserable old bitch there. It used to freak me out. This house here used to be a kind of kibbutz. It was like a commune, and remember Jim and Shirley Brown? You know, Jim Brown smashed up Shirley Brown's car on New Year's Eve with an axe. Their daughter, Sarah Brown, lived here in this commune, and when she wasn't living here in the commune, she was living at our house because her parents would like get into like a fight or something, and she'd come and live with us for a few days, and she was my babysitter as well. Yeah, so Sarah Brown lived there. 2 School Road. That's right. Used to be a school, an old school down there, and now then they turned it into, they knocked it. Look, these old people. It's all old people in Kidlington, I'm telling you. Yeah. Old Chapel Close. There used to be a church or something down here, but I think the Satanists burnt it down or something. I don't know. So yeah, this was like a commune. I'm sure it's nothing of the sort now, but the people who lived here when I was a kid, when I was a teenager anyway, they rented out arcade machines. They had like an arcade rental service. And my friend Nick Lyford, he was a twin, Chris and Nick Lyford, they were friends with these people, and we used to go over there and play arcade cabinets, which was pretty cool. More old ladies. That building that you can see over there, that's the fire station, I think. Yeah. So, what was the name of this street? Oh, Exeter Road. Okay. Another old lady. Wait, where did the bus go? Oh, that's weird. Home Close. Is that Home Close? I realised that was Home Close. So this building here, which is a Tesco, used to be the cinema. When I was a kid, I saw my first films there. I saw Sleeping Beauty, Disney Sleeping Beauty, and Disney's Treasure Island, live action Treasure Island, as a double bill. The thing that I always remember about this cinema more than anything, though, is when The Exorcist came out. When I must have been very, very young, they used to have like all the photo cards outside. And I remember going up and seeing the photo cards of The Exorcist and really, really wanting to see the film and wanting like my grandparents to take me to see The Exorcist. This was 1973, and I was, let's just say, very, very, way too young to see a film like The Exorcist, but it looked so cool to me. And I also remember them showing Planet of the Apes, I think the first three Planet of the Apes together as like a trilogy or something, after the TV series came out and was a big hit in the UK. It wasn't a hit in America, it was a big hit in the UK. And they brought back the first three Planet of the Apes films and screened them there. I can't remember if I actually went to see them or not. But yeah, so that was the cinema. I think it was Sterling or something it was called. Could be wrong. To be honest, I mainly went to the cinema in Oxford, in the city centre. So can't remember what that used to be. I think it may have always been a washing machine place. St John's Ambulance has always been there. This has all completely changed. These buildings, I've never seen them on this side. So I'm kind of fascinated. This used to be like a big open area where we had like the market, like an open air market. M & Co, I don't even know what they are. House of Cards, the Market Barber. God, it's all turned so fucking, I don't know. It looks so kind of alien to me. This was, I think this was a TSB Bank. Now it's a Domino's Pizza. Indian restaurants. Yeah, this is all changed. The co-op here, I can't remember what it used to. It's not even a co-op anymore, is that? Oh yeah, it is cooperative. This used to be. I can't remember what was here before they built the co-op. Something. I used to be up here. Used to be apartments. I don't think they are anymore. Maybe they are. They never used to look this nice though. But I used to be babysat up here. And when I was a kid, by a lady who had a child who was much younger than me and really annoying, and we used to play on the roof, and more than once it occurred to me that, you know, it wouldn't take much for him to like trip up and go over. Never happened though. The harbour, fish and chips. I think there was always a fish and chip shop along here. Oh look, this is all closed. This used to be Fry's newsagents, I think. There was Fry's and Mallow's. Mallow's is further down. It's now the cooperative. It's not the co-op anymore. It's interesting. Magenta Cafe. And then there used to be a Fine Fare supermarket at the back through there. Nails, British Red Cross. Barclays Bank, I think, has pretty much always been there. Should have pointed out that right next to the cinema there used to be Foresters Hall. Foresters is kind of, I don't know what the American equivalent would be, something like the Shriners or something. And we were members of the Foresters, and they had a very old hall there that eventually got knocked down. It was something like the Ancient Order of the Foresters. It was some kind of creepy, like Freemason bullshit, and there was a party every year in Wolvercut, and we all got to go to it and do secret handshakes and roll our trousers up and stuff. I don't know, maybe I'm imagining some of that, but it was very weird. A man used to come to our house every week, a Forester's man, and I don't know why. I can't remember why. Are those toilets or something? I used to go rollerblading all around here. What the fuck? Is that a pterodactyl? Or is it just like a regular bird, but it looks huge. What's going on? I don't know. Yeah, I think this has always been a Barclays Bank. I don't know what Blue Cross is. Some kind of charity shop, maybe? Oh, we can't go any further up? That's a shame. I wanted to show you where I got the shit kicked out of me once and ended up having to go to hospital. Just there it says Robert's Discount. That used to be Bogart's Video, but then it became a discount store not owned by Robert. And the reason I know it wasn't owned by Robert was because it was owned by two guys called Les and Don. And the only reason that I know that it was owned by two guys called Les and Don was because it was called Les and Don's, like one word, Les and Don. And they sold all kinds of tat. And it was like a dollar store. We can't go any further up here, which is a shame. I wanted to see if Fry's was still there. I'm sure it or Mallow's was still there. I'm sure it isn't. People don't buy magazines anymore. Do you know what? Let's cheat a little bit. That's freaking me out. And go to Gosford Hill, which is on the other side of Kidlington. As I said, it's a big place. Gosford Hill School. Well, let's start with Gosford Hill Medical Centre, because that's right next to the school. Oh, here we are. Look, we're there already. Oh, no, we've got to go down here first, because I want to see if Oxford House still exists. We can always come back. Okay. So this garage here, which is loading in, there's always been a garage here since prehistoric times when they had little Fred Flintstone cars. It never looked like this. It looks like this now. I don't know. There was always a garage here as well. Graham Hill, who was a race car driver, I met him here. He did like a meet and greet thing once. This building here, it was TW Motorcycles, King's Two Wheel Centre. I wonder if TW stood for two wheels. I bet it did. Never realised that. Probably the same thing. Originally, it was a cafe called Ruby's Cafe. Yeah, when I was a kid, it was a kind of greasy spoon cafe, and then it became TW Motorcycles, and now it's King's Two Wheel Centre. Never occurred to me before. My mind is blown that TW Motorcycles may have stood for two wheels. I remember some of the the smart kids at Gosford Hill School that we'll visit in a minute, they built a motorbike, and it was on display in TW Motorcycles window for ages. And I swear, I may be remembering this wrong, but before Akira, it looked like the Akira motorbike. It was even bright red. It was a kind of concept motorbike or something. I don't know. Down there's some history. My junior school, Edward Field, spelled F-E-I-L-D, just to confuse people. This is Oxford House. It's still Oxford House. I love that. This all used to be Oxford House once, but now it's just this side here. Newsagents. That's where I used to go for my copies of 2000 AD each week. Just there. Don't know what they're doing. They're like drug dealers. Some young people at last. Let's cross over. Let's stay on this side for now, because we've got to have a look and see if the Squire Bassett is still there. Look at all the young people at this end. Okay, Gurkha. What? Gurkha Village. What the hell? Nepalese restaurant and bar. Gurkha Village, Nepalese restaurant and bar. All right, so this used to be the Squire Bassett pub, and before that it was the Dog pub, and now it's Gurkha Village. Political correctness gone mad. Look at that giant pterodactyl's back. So this is my medical centre. This is where I used to come to see the doctor. Hasn't really changed at all, apart from this massive sign that they've got here. Now, I can't remember the last time I was there. I know I went there for hemorrhoids. I know I went there to have my ears syringed. These are things I wouldn't have visited there as an adult. I think the last time I went there, my girlfriend had... oh, hi, Carrie. This is Kidlington, Oxford. This is where I grew up. This is the village that I grew up in. The last time I went there, I think my girlfriend had an asthma attack, and I went there with her, but she died. No, she didn't. She didn't. Yeah, that was a long time ago, though. And this place here is what's it? Leisure centre. What? It's a leisure centre. This used to be there used to be a police station here, which I always thought was a little bit excessive, because the Thames Valley Police headquarters is just up the road. Well, I suppose this isn't the leisure centre. The leisure centre's up here, because this is Gosford Hill School. This is my... Oh, look, we can go up here. That's nice. This we can go up here a bit anyway. This is my secondary school. Up here. My God, it's changed. Some of it's changed. Oh, wow, look at that. That's all kind of new. Swimming pool used to be here, and the sports hall. I used to play, as an adult, I used to play roller hockey here in this building, but it's changed a lot. Of this top part is all new. Yeah, I used to play roller hockey like every Wednesday here. And then this is the school. That's A block over there, which was the humanities block. And then this was the this here was the metalwork and woodwork area, and then on the other side was the art block. This was the adult education centre. I never knew what the adult education centre was all about, to be honest. Gosford Hill School. Gosford Hill School. Perfect. So the H has completely disappeared off of the sign. And then this was sports fields over here where we used to play football. We used to do the 1,500 meters, which is you'd run all the way around the field. That was roughly 1,500 meters. Beyond that, the big tower there, that's the Thames Valley Police Headquarters, which you kind of needed next to our school. And then over there are the field hockey courts. I don't think you can go any further up here, but you probably wouldn't want to. But yeah, this is my secondary school, my high school. So what else? What, is there anything else of interest in Kidlington? Was any of this interesting in the first place? Well, the buses are so posh now. Look at this. I've heard they've all got Wi-Fi on them, which is insane to me. See, it is still the Co-op. Oh, they're all run by Stagecoach now. Any castles? Well, if you'd been here earlier, you would have seen the house that I grew up in. It's not a castle. It doesn't even have a blue plaque. Somehow, I don't know how they missed that. But there aren't any castles in Kidlington, unfortunately. I did Richard Branson's house. You missed that as well. Richard Branson out of Virgin. His house, well, one of his houses is here, and a place where Oliver Cromwell lived, well, or stayed anyway. I don't want to, exaggerate too much. And Thomas Beecham, the creator of Beecham's powders, which are things you drink when you've got indigestion or something. He lived here as well. But you missed all that. You'll have to wait until the live stream's over and go back. But no castles, I'm afraid. This is the first time that the live commentary has worked on here for me. So I'm a bit chuffed because it's never worked before. But I can actually read your comments. This is a new app I got for the old VR headset. It's called Wander, and I'm using it in Oculus VR headset, and it kind of uses Google Street View, and then it gives you like a 360-degree view automatically, just by moving your head around. We're actually heading out of Kidlington now, heading towards Oxford, because up here is Thames Valley Police Headquarters and Sainsbury's. There we go, Thames Valley Police. The only time I ever went to Thames Valley Police Headquarters was I found a skateboard once and I gave it in, and they looked at me like I was fucking stupid. Like, why didn't you keep it, mate? It's got kryptonic wheels. Yeah, I've been playing. I got this earlier today because it was on sale, and I've been playing with it for hours, and I've been visiting all the places that I've lived. Yeah, Oxford is about 7 miles from here, so I'm probably not going to do Oxford tonight. But at some point, I'll give my exclusive Oxford tour, which nobody asked for and nobody wants. But I just thought I'd kind of go. This is the town or the village that I grew up in. There's still a Bookies there. My granddad used to go to that Bookies all the time to place his bets, and then that was always a cake shop. I think that was always a fish and chip shop, as long as I can remember. And then up here was a Pak Ho Chinese cuisine. Now it's the Mayflower. I had a friend from Hong Kong called Wyman Lam. Didn't speak a word of English, Wyman Lam, but his family owned Pak Ho. Yeah, you can type in an address. Let me type in This is all new to me. You can even speak the address, but the last time I did that when I was streaming earlier, it went all funny. Where's the search? Is there a search thing? I don't know. Oh, probably the map here. Oh, yeah, here we go. Where should I go, Carrie? We can go anywhere in the world that the little Google truck has been to. And don't say Manchester. Oh, you did, didn't you? I knew it. I knew it was going to be some kind of Morrissey related. Oh, I can't even spell it. What's it called? Alfred's Boys Club. It's where they took the photo, right? I knew you were going to choose. It's Salford, right? Salford's Boys Club. What am I doing? Salford's Lads Club. I got Alfred's Boys Club. Salford's depressing though. So there's matchstalk men and matchstalk cats and dogs. Like what? Am I just like crap at typing or? It's not lads, is it? It's boys. You've never seen the matchstalk men and matchstalk cats and dogs? Are you not familiar with TH Lowry, the artist? Brian and Michael immortalized him in song. There we go, Salford Lads Club. See, I told you it would be depressing. Oh, that's where they had the photo taken, isn't it? On the corner there. Oh, it's a dead end. Look at that. You can't go any further. You just got to turn around. Save the Salford Lads and Girls Club. Did they save it? I'm not sure when these photos were taken. You've probably been here though, right? There, she looks like a right one. Look at her over there. They have a Smith's room. Really? God, look, it's also red brick and looks like Coronation Street. I thought Kidlington was depressing. Can you imagine what it would be like growing up in a place like this? It'd probably turn you into like, it'd make you run away to Los Angeles and become a racist, I reckon. Think I'm going to need an extra dose of my medication tonight. This is really depressing. It's so dirty as well. It won't even let me move anywhere. Even the people just look, awful. Sheffield. Oh, we're going to go on a tour of Jarvis country, are we? Just like Sheffield in general. I like Sheffield. I've been there a few times. Sheffield. It's very kind of industrial, but well, for some reason, it just plonked us right in the middle of a shopping centre. Can we go through the arcade? No. There's W.H. Smith over there. Yeah, it's a bit nicer than Salford. Have you not seen that documentary on it's on Amazon, all about pulp, where they like interview all the people in Sheffield? It's worth watching. They like just interview all these kind of random Sheffield residents about, how they feel about pulp and stuff. I don't know what it's called though, but it's on Amazon. Oh, you've seen it? Yeah. I watched it, I think, like last year. It was pretty good. I like their street lights. They look like Martian war machines. It's hard to move here because it's all like paved over. Rome. Just like Rome generally, or do you want like the Colosseum or... Oh, Cardiff. Let's go to Roald Dahl Plaza then. How do you spell? I don't even know. That's correct, isn't it? Oh, there we go. Roald Dahl Plus, Cardiff. It's where who had no teeth? Well, yeah. Isn't Torchwood actually meant to be under here, under this this big square? I don't know why they celebrate. You always send me to places where there aren't any roads, so I can't go any further. Look, I think that's Matey Boy over there. The one who got killed. Well, they all got killed, didn't they? But the one that got killed and everybody bitched about it. You probably see the front of it if you go around. Hold on. I'm going to get lost now. I've got relatives in Cardiff. My Aunt Lucy and Uncle Taff live in Cardiff. They live in a place called Blot, or Splot, which is like a suburb of Cardiff. I used to go here for my holidays. There you go. It's all in Welsh, isn't it? Yeah, on my mother's side. Well, on my grandmother's side. So yeah, on my mother's side. Uncle Taff, he was like the most Scottish Welsh person imaginable. I remember when I was about 10. They're probably dead, I would think, because they were like 112 when I was a kid. But my Uncle Taff, when I was about 10, we came to Cardiff for our annual holiday, and my grandmother brought me a Princess Leia doll, and my Uncle Taff was really appalled because, he wasn't like familiar with geek culture in like 1980 or whatever it was. So all he saw was me playing with a doll. He wasn't happy about it, not in his house. Yeah, I know, and I grew up to be a perfectly well-balanced individual, so I don't know what all the fuss was about. I don't know this. This is all new, this Roald Dahl rubbish. I remember going to Cardiff Castle quite a bit, and Tiger Bay, which is where Shirley Bassey was born, and I think Tom Jones as well, and Barry Island, which is like the beach here at Cardiff. But it's a Welsh beach, so it doesn't really count as the seaside because it's always pissing down with rain and there are sheep all over the place. So Cardiff Castle's nice, though. It's a really well-preserved castle. Probably because the Welsh were a bunch of, cowardly fucks who never got into any fights. So look, Tiger Bay, there we go. Or maybe this is close to Tiger Bay then. Yeah, the rest of Cardiff is a bit meh, really. Which building? I thought we did. Did you miss that? What, the Roald Dahl building? Yeah, it had all the Welsh writing all over it. Is this it here? I don't know. All these buildings look like something out of Logan's Run. I can't tell them apart. They're making, in Cardiff right now, they're making His Dark Materials, the Philip Pullman books. I'm very excited about that. It's because they're some of my favourite books. And the company that is doing it for the BBC is called Bad Wolf. Oh, there we go. They're not too big on vowels in Wales, as you can see. My grandfather was Welsh. He grew up in Wrexham, so he could actually speak Welsh. He told me to say Llanfair Pilgingi Antisilio Gogogoch, which is one of I think the place with the longest name in the world. Yeah, because Julie Garner, Jane Tranter, who was the one who commissioned Doctor Who to come back, she has her own production company now, and they're making it, and they're called Bad Wolf. They've got a good cast. I don't know if you've ever seen the film The Golden Compass. Don't bother if you haven't, because it's a big piece of shit. But that was an adaptation of the first book, but it was a very bad adaptation. So they've got, I know Lin-Manuel Miranda is in this BBC version, and some other people. Yeah, it's like sci-fi fantasy. It's a trilogy of children's books. Young adult books, but they're very, very good. They're actually mainly set in Oxford, partly in our Oxford and partly in like a alternative dimension Oxford. And they're about a young boy and a young girl called Lyra and Will, who are the reincarnation of Adam and Eve. And they have to destroy the Catholic Church and kill God and turn heaven into a republic. You can probably tell why I like them. And that's why the film version, the Hollywood film, wasn't very good, because they kind of, it was a rather anodyne version of the story. They took out all the kind of religious allegory and stuff. Yeah, they're kind of young adult books, but they have a very. It's basically a retelling of Paradise Lost by Milton, but with the concept that Eve and the serpent, who in the books is an ex-nun turned physicist. Hey, it could happen. Called Mary Malone. They're actually the heroes of the story, because the idea is that original sin is actually a good thing. The idea of humanity becoming enlightened was actually a positive thing, not a negative thing. And there are like Finnish witches and gay angels and all kinds of stuff going on. They're beautifully, beautifully written books. And now the BBC are adapting them into an 8-part TV series, which I think is coming out next year. Marina Bay Sands. Never heard of it. What is the significance of Marina Bay Sands? Did Johnny Marr do like a dump there or something one day? Oh, okay. Amazing Hotel. Bayfront Avenue. Oh, wow. This is all a bit Buck Rogers, isn't it? It's so futuristic that the top of it up there hasn't loaded in properly. He looks quite impressed. Nice skyline too. Looks like a big surfboard. Oh, really? Like is that what they call an infinity pool? It kind of goes right to the edge. Yeah, you see, I couldn't stay in a place like this. It's just a bit too posh. It's like when I go to San Diego, go to downtown San Diego, and I always feel like not nearly glamorous enough. And that's San Diego. Imagine how I'd feel in a big surfboard pool on the top of a 12-star hotel or something. Oh, look, they're on the first date. It'll never last. Shouldn't take her to a place like this on a first date. She's going to expect too much of him. It's nice. I like it. What's this big thing, though? This big kind of UFO type. It actually looks like the Dalek ship from Dalek Invasion Earth 2150 AD. I realise that's probably the saddest thing anybody's ever said about this, but it really does look like it. So there's a tree garden. I'm getting all tangled up because I got my battery pack in, but the only way to really use something like this is to sit in a revolving chair, which is what I'm doing. I learned the hard way that with programs like this, you really do need to be sitting. And show the Art Science Museum. Oh, look, there's a school trip to the Science Museum. They've all disappeared. Some buildings you can actually go inside as well. There is a map. I don't know how to get rid of this part. Oh, Jesus, what did I do? I thought I was at the London Eye for a minute. But the problem with the map is it's weird. It doesn't really show tourist things so much as it shows things like Vodafone centres and dentists and stuff like that. Is that where we are, the museum? Oh, I think we're indoors. Always freaks me out when it does that. Hamleys. There's a Hamleys here. There's Hamleys of London. Where's the Hamleys then? Have you ever been to Hamleys? Very, very overpriced. That's weird. Is that three different guys? I'm not saying all Asian people look the same, but look, is that three different guys who all look identical and dress identically? Or is that the same guy? I don't understand. It's one image. Can you see that? This bloke here, look, 1, 2, 3. Where else is he? A garden. Yeah, this probably isn't very clear on the live stream. It's very clear here. There's a toast box, tea gardens and Marina Bay Sands. Is that it? Oh, this is like an indoor thing again. This is I did. This is it apparently. Oh, what happened? Let's try that again. I'll try the tea gardens again. There's actually a teacup on the map, and I clicked on that, and it took me to that. I'm like constantly indoors now, which is very odd. That's a posh mall, though. See, there's nothing in here I'd want to go to, though. It's all like Cartier and Gucci and stuff like that. There's no Toys R Us or, you know. Oh, I saw something about a spectral light and water show. Could that be it? No. The map doesn't. There's something called the Raspbiera Masters and the Don. I don't know why it keeps changing like that. Oh, they've got a superhero cafe up there, an official DC superhero cafe. It should be just behind the Sands Hotel. So next to the dentist, then. Let's have a look. Let's click on where it says toast box. Gardens by the Bay. Let's have a look if it's on. According to this, Louis Vuitton has his own island. I can't see anything that says gardens. Just TWG Tea Gardens. It's quite a big area, though. I'm going to click on the Gardens by the Bay again. Those people don't look very thrilled to be on the camera. It's in the center of the tree area. What, these trees? On the map. I'm no good at reading maps. Goop. Isn't that bloody Skinny Gwynny's website? Go to the top. What, of the map? Okay. Is Singapore there? What does that mean? There's a Dom lounge. There's the museum. Where is it in relation to the museum? Because I can find the museum here. Oh, go up. All right. I'm going to click. I think that's a toilet. Is it near the toilets? I do like their bridge. It's a bit like the Millennium Bridge in London, but like 1,000 times nicer. Oh, I see. It's like a big flower, that thing. I don't think these trees exist. Could it be over there? There's something over there. Oh, we got to think Hassan Habib. Where were you going to send me the picture though? Because I would have to come out of this app to go into Facebook. Even though this headset is actually made by Facebook, their Facebook kind of compatibility is a bit rubbish. Point towards the Sands Hotel. Which bit is the Sands Hotel again? On the map. Oh, the tabletop. Okay. So that is, I think, along here. See, I can't move here because there aren't any roads. So I'm going to have to do it via the map. So I'm there. It must be around here. Wait, do the gardens have a name? Because I can probably just put in the name of the gardens here. I know you told me them earlier, but oh, a bit close to that guy's hat. Gardens by the Bay. So let me just type that in. Might be the easiest way of doing it. And coffee shop, Gardens by the Bay. Gardens by the Bay East. Does this look like we're on the right track? third one. What, the third choice that was up there? Yeah, that's the one I clicked on. What about the peach garden at Gardens by the Bay? Oh, wow. Is this what you were talking about? They look like something out of a French 1970s science fiction comic. Oh, well, they're huge. I didn't realize that they were big. I can see people on like walkways. Shame it's not at night time. Do they light up, did you say? They look really cool. I've never seen this at all. I looked at them and I thought, oh, they're really cool. And then I realized I could see the walkways and you kind of see how huge they are. Yeah, it's a shame this isn't what wasn't kind of taken at night. It's really pretty gardens as well. But seeing them against this skyline, they don't even look real. You know, it looks like a Chris Foss painting or something, especially with that big thing over there. That'd be an awesome place to see a concert. So what's that building? Is that the part of the hotel or something? On along here, you mean? Yeah, I think so. I'm not sure if you can get up on the things though. I wonder if you can get. Oh, you can get down there. No, they're really cool. Kind of want to get down. I'm sure you can get down at the base of them. You probably just have to walk around though. Have you ever seen the Tower of the Sun in Japan? Let me find it. It's the strangest thing. It was built for the Japan Expo in the 1970s, and they open it up like one day each year, and you have to have a lottery to be able to go inside. It's the strangest building. I've seen it from the outside, but I never got to go inside it. It's in Osaka. Oh, here we go. Need to get some distance on it though, really. That's the back of it as well. To get the full impact of it, you need to see it from the front. Okay. Inside, there's it originally had a bunch of displays, like the Tree of Life and all of these things about biology. But I think most of them aren't in there anymore because it was designed to only stand for a year, and then if I can get further back because it's really cool looking if you can see it from a distance. I think they've tried to refurbish some of the displays. Because it was originally inside like a huge tent, but since the expo has disappeared, because it was like 1971, I think. Only the tower remains now. It's the only part of the expo that still exists. Yeah, it's a really strange design. It's got three faces on it. It's got one on the front, the kind of satellite dish face at the top, and then one at the back. I don't know if you watch Game of Thrones, but in the opening credits of Game of Thrones, there is a tree that looks a lot like the Tower of the Sun. It must have been inspired by it. But I've always loved the design of it. It's such a cool looking building, I think. It was like a bit like the kind of World's Fair, but just for Japan. It was an expo of all kinds of things, technology and anything that was particularly in vogue in Japan in 1971. But yeah, I've always loved the Tower of the Sun. Shonen Knife wrote the song about it. One of my favorite Shonen Knife, I'm sure you know Shonen Knife. One of my favorite Shonen Knife songs is called Tower of the Sun. And it's still a big tourist draw, even now, as you can see. Look, this is the house that I grew up in. How do I get rid of that? This is the old... It looks like it belongs in the middle of Salford. They were Kurt Cobain's favourite band. First concert that I ever went to, was on Nirvana's first European tour. But I was probably the only person there who was there for the support band. I thought Nirvana was shit, and I still do. This is the house. Yeah, this is the house where I lived from 3 weeks old until at some point in my 20s. And as I said, there's no blue plaque there. It's just 18 Waverley Avenue, Kidlington. Well, I'm glad somebody agrees with me, because whenever I say that, people are just like horrified. I don't know what they did to our back garden. Our back garden used to come all the way up here, and it's all been truncated. Don't know whose car that is either. And then the people who lived in that house there with the extension on the back, that was Jim and Shirley Brown. And one New Year's Eve, Jim Brown took an axe and smashed up Shirley Brown's car because he found out that she was having an affair with Morris, who was this guy who lived across the street, lived in that house there. He was like a local councillor. He was fucking Shirley Brown, and so Jim Brown smashed up her car. They lived just there. And then they moved out, and then the Dyers moved in. So, No, I went to Cambridge. Well, I lived in various places around Oxford, and I did my first year at university at Ruskin College in Oxford, and then I moved to Cambridge, to Flower Street, where I went to university. It was right next to the university, actually. Not Flower Street. Why would I can't type in virtual reality? Oh, it comes up straight away. I thought there would be other flower streets that would come up before. Yeah, this is the park where all the goth kids would hang out all the time. And I lived just where this dodgy looking geezer's coming out. I lived in the top floor up there. I don't know who he is. It was student house, Yeah, from Anglia University, which is just behind these buildings here. Oh, again, everywhere I go, they've always got these things where the Google car can't go. Yeah, that was my bedroom, just up there. Yeah, when I look at it, I guess just England in general is kind of depressing, isn't it? All Seasons Afro-Caribbean store. Don't remember that. Yes, yeah, from kind of lost now. I had to walk through the graveyard to go to university. I think the graveyard's up here. And my friend Mikey, her name was Maiken. She was Norwegian and she was very strange. She lived down here. I remember the first time I met her, we had a seminar and she walked in, she was late and she looked like she was dressed as a Nazi stormtrooper. She was really short and angry. And I thought, oh, fuck, we're going to become best friends because, you know, I could see that she was as big a freak as me. And we did. And all of my housemates hated her. And then I got a girlfriend and my girlfriend really hated her. No, no, not with Micah. That would just be nasty. She was too strange even for me. And somewhere down here is Salvation Army, where I worked. Believe it or not, it was my student job working for the Salvation Army, of all places. Being a deeply religious human being. I have no idea where I am now. I'm completely lost. I was looking for the entrance to the university, but God knows where it is. I don't remember any of these streets. There was a pub down here somewhere where this old guy called Diamond Dave, he was like 90. He performed like every Thursday night and he just did Billy Bragg songs. He always ended with The Great Leap Forwards, but he was really old and he played the guitar. Well, he played, this is the pub. He played the guitar even worse than Billy Bragg. Yeah, the Dobblers. Exactly the kind of name of a pub that you'd expect a 90-year-old Billy Bragg impersonator to be playing in. I wanted to find Parker's Piece. Parker's Piece is a big grassy area in the middle of Cambridge, immortalised in a Robin Hitchcock song. Again, it's not going to let me go down there, is that? Bugger. Oh, there we go. This is where I came to eat my sandwiches when I was a student. And this is the local swimming pool. So Cambridge is nice. Wow, their double deckers are posh now. Does he make stuff up about ghosts and stuff for the American tourists? Because I think a lot of those people who do those tours do stuff like that. They'll be doing a tour in Bristol, and they'll tell like naive Americans, oh, this is where Jack the Ripper killed his first victim and stuff like that. I lived down here as well. My first year at university, I lived on, I can't remember the name of the street. It was awesome living down here. There was always places to get food at 2 o'clock in the morning. This is a Salvation Army store. This is where I worked. I worked further up the street, but because we were staff, we used to get to go in here and go into the storeroom and have first pick of all the items. And there were some things they couldn't sell. And I went in there once, and they had this beautiful embroidered like box, like a poof style box. And it had all this colourful embroidery on the top, and right on the top of it was a swastika, and they couldn't sell it. And I got it for like £2 or something like that, because it was a Buddhist box. You know, the swastika was reversed. It was the Buddhist swastika, but they were like, "There's no way we can put it up for sale." They're kind of like the Young Ones apartments, but they're kind of grimmer, basically. I think I definitely would have been Neil in the Young Ones, surprisingly, maybe. I think I've gone too far, because I think this is the Salvation Army where I worked, just here. Yep, it still is. The swastika is a Buddhist symbol originally. The Nazis just reversed it, you know, like a mirror image of it. But yeah, it's Sanskrit. Even the word swastika. So this is the street I originally lived in. I was going to show you the house, but apparently, Tennyson Road. That's it. Yeah. And that's the Salvation Army Church. I lived just down there, and they've closed the road off. You can see they're all like scummy students around here, because a lot of these houses are owned by the university. Anyway, I'm going to have to go to bed. I think, not that I'm doing anything in the morning. I'm certainly not going to church, but I did take my medication earlier, and I'm fading fast now. But that was fun. I enjoyed sharing a tour of some of the world's dullest places with you, Carrie. This was definitely worth $4. Can't believe every place I wanted to go, they closed off Tennyson Road. Don't believe it. Oh wait, this is the back entrance to the university. Down here, I think. If you know who Clive Sinclair is, he was the creator of Sinclair Computers and the Sinclair C5, which was this terrible, like, mini car device that if you put in that one, you should be able to get in. Well, anyway, if you know Clive Sinclair, the Sinclair Computers, their offices are now part of the university. It's called the Sinclair Building, and I thought, well, that's a bit close. I don't know where, oh, I'm back on the main street. I thought I could get in to the university down there, but maybe not. I can't remember which street it is now. Oh, it's this one. Yeah. This is the back gates. Can we go through? Oh, you can't see the Sinclair building. I mean, it's no oh, there it is, just there. See, it says I don't know if you can read it. It says Sinclair on it. It's now the computer centre of the university. No, it was actually their offices. I think he's retired now. He's really ancient. But he was a big thing in like the 80s because he made the first like home computer and stuff like that. I think it was released as the Timex in America. And he was like he was kind of the Elon Musk of Britain, in that he was like Elon Musk but even crapper, because he made this stupid little, if you should Google the Sinclair C5 and see that it was going to be the future of like automation in the UK. You know, by the year 2018 we were all going to be riding around in Sinclair C5s, and it ended up the things were terrible and people use them as pot plants. It was like a little one-seater car. It was bloody dreadful. And then everybody laughed at him and he disappeared. Anyway, thanks for humouring me and showing me that Singapore surfboard and the big Dalek UFO and the giant toadstools. Yeah, I'm going to go to bed now. All right, thanks. Bye. This is the embarrassing bit where I have to log out and it takes forever. I'm still here. There we go. End live stream.